of 18, Amanda Perla was in a car accident that resulted in a spinal cord injury. She is now a C6 quadriplegic. With the help of NextStep Orlando's aggressive and comprehensive exercise based recovery program, Amanda was able to improve her daily living and live a full life while inspiring others to do the same. Amanda has served as a race ambassador for the Wings for Life World Run and was also featured as Miss March in the 2015 New York Mets calendar. Amanda also handles social media for NextStep Orlando. Tell us a little bit about your spinal cord injury, how it happened, what the recovery process was like. Were there any other complications at the time of the accident, or when you sustained your spinal cord injury?
Okay. Yeah, so my spinal cord injury happened about 13 years ago. I was 18 and I was a senior in high school, and I just happened to be a passenger in a car accident that left me with a broken neck at the C6 level. So initially I was paralyzed from the neck down, couldn't move anything, but then after, stay at inpatient hospital, which I went to Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia, and did the day program afterwards. I was able to regain back mobility in my arms, not so much my hands though. And then, yeah, just basically spent the first 6 months doing the inpatient and day program, just kind of learning to adapt to the new normal. I was lucky to really not have any other type of complications. I really didn't even have any other injuries besides the broken neck. So yeah, my main focus in the beginning was just to adapt to the new normal, which is kind of crazy that it's such a common phrase these days. That's what everybody's saying. So I feel like that really prepared me to adapt to everything going on right now as well, and anything I might face in the future too.
Yeah, no, of course. So, can you explain, just for those that may not know, what does a C6 vertebrae injury? What does that mean?
Right. Okay. So our spine is actually broken into 3 different groups. There's the cervical, the thoracic, and the lumbar. So the cervical is your neck, is considered breaking your neck, and then thoracic is your back, and the lumbar is that lower back tailbone area. So each level in those groups control different nerves and abilities for your body and their muscles. So breaking your neck at the C6 level typically means no triceps, no hand function, or anything below that, really. But then again, everybody's different and you regain different abilities through it. Higher quads that have broken C2, C3 may not have any movement, maybe just a little bit of a shoulder shrug. And then the paraplegics are the ones that break in the thoracic and lumbar.
Okay. Okay.
I'm technically a quadriplegic.
Yeah, just for those that may be asking, or just,
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that I'm a quadriplegic because I can move my arms, but I broke my neck. So that does technically make me a quad.
Right. Yeah, no, there are also, from what I have seen, obviously there's different, levels of mobility and so forth. So I always like to ask, because obviously I can tell that you're very mobile, from obviously the top, or from obviously your waist up. So
yeah,
give or take, obviously. What parts of your life have been affected by your spinal cord injury?
So for me personally, and honestly, I think most people that are living with a spinal cord injury, literally every single aspect of your life is changed or affected, physically, obviously, but emotionally and mentally and socially and financially. There's literally not a single aspect of your life that a spinal cord injury doesn't affect. And for me, because I got hurt at such a pivotal moment in my life, it was really right before or right at the end of my senior year. So it was right before graduation. I had to miss that. I didn't get to experience that summer before going to college and like really figuring out what I wanted to do. I danced competitively for like 11 years before my injury. And although I wasn't dancing at the time of the injury, I always knew I wanted to do something active and like have a career in something active later on in my life. So that was probably like the hardest part in the beginning, was realizing that I was going to have to kind of reevaluate and make a different plan for myself.
Of course. And so and you talked a little bit about this, but how did your spinal cord injury affect your career goals, your dreams, your aspirations?
Basically just that was like, it was like, okay, well now my life's kind of been put on pause, whereas everybody else was moving on and figuring out what they were going to do and where they were going to go with their lives. So I just really had to like look within myself and figure out like, what can I do to make myself happy again, make myself feel important again, like I can matter, like I can make a difference again. And it was just, I knew then that it was going to be to help other people in my situation, but I didn't know what yet. So it was just realizing that although I might not have this like crazy adventurous outdoorsy type career that I always thought I would, I could maybe use my situation to help others.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you're helping others. This obviously happened when you were in your senior year of high school. Were you able to go to college, like given a period of time afterwards?
So I ended up not being able to even finish my senior year on time. And it took me quite a while afterwards because I was just physically focused on recovery and rehabilitation. And it kind of led me down this road of like an aggressive therapy type deal. So whereas I realized that college just wasn't in the near future for me anymore, and that I needed to be focused on myself and my physical, like, because I felt like until I was like physically able to take on anything like that, I just wouldn't be ready. And it did eventually, time went on and different things developed, so I never did actually go to college. But I always tell everybody I have so much life experience under my belt that I feel like I got a college education.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was just asking. I think it's great. It's okay that you didn't go to college. I was just curious since this happened at your senior year of high school. So I didn't know if you were planning on going to college, if you eventually went back. But no, you definitely have so much life experience. And so, what support / services did you basically take on once you had your accident?
The majority of it was, of course, just like my family's support and them finding what was best for me and what was gonna give me the best chance at learning this new life, adapting and recovering. And so just going to Shepherd Center, I think really, really helped me in the beginning. They're really great at just like giving you all the tools and resources you need to change. I mean, your life changes in a second. There's no time to prepare. So they're like great at helping you kind of just transition into the next phase. And then after that, it was finding activity-based therapy that really was like my tool to just having a good, happy, healthy life again.
Absolutely. And so what about, obviously you said your family, what about therapists, in terms of psychotherapists? I know obviously this affected you mentally. were there any like psychiatrists, as much as you want to share, were there any of those people involved as well?
So when I was at Shepherd Center the first 6 months in the inpatient in the day program, they did set us up with counseling, which definitely I think was helpful because it was somebody that kind of like, whereas when I would try to talk to my friends and family in the beginning, this was so new to them as well. They didn't know how to relate. They didn't know how to give me advice or anything like that. So the counselors there really, really helped me through and helped me realize that, like, kind of like you said, maybe don't look at this as a disability, but that you're different and it makes you stand out, and use that to your power. I didn't really continue much on with counseling after that. I think I just had such a strong support group with my family and friends that after I got over that like initial hump, I was able to just lean on them for the support that I needed afterwards.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute gift in a lot of ways to have a difference or a disability, because there's so many different avenues you can take to give back and to really make a difference. Obviously, especially if it's acquired, it's not necessarily the easiest, because obviously you know the before and then you know the after. What have been your greatest obstacles to date? How did you manage or overcome them?
I think my greatest obstacle was just trying to find a way to be happy again. And for me, that was always just living an active lifestyle. So it was like, how can I fulfill that again? And, luckily that did bring us to NextStep Orlando, which it's my happy place, and being here gives my life purpose again, and it just makes me so happy to share that with other people and hopefully give them the sense that their life has purpose again. I think that was my biggest obstacle, was just being happy with, like, full-heartedly being happy with myself and my life and the direction that it was going again.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And I'm glad that you have found a place where you feel obviously accepted, but a way to give back at NextStep Orlando. We'll get into a little bit about NextStep, because I have some questions about that. If you ever lost hope or felt helpless, what helped you to persevere and push forward?
Okay, so I think the times that I've felt the most helpless is just when I've felt frustrated. In those moments where you just want to be able to, mainly I think the times that I get frustrated is like, I just want to be able to do something for myself and do it my way and do it now and not have to wait and be reliant on others. And that's really when I feel the most helpless. So that's again where I just have to like really lean on my family and my friends, and especially my husband, Matt, who's really good at kind of like calming me down and making me realize that, hey, don't get so aggravated, so frustrated because you're still here, you're still alive, you're so lucky. Let's do what we can do to make the best of it and just take a deep breath type thing. And to be honest, I can say, because I have them, I've never really lost hope. I mean, to be honest, I really have. And it is what keeps me going, is having hope. I mean, I think way back then, the hope was that I would walk again one day. But now the hope is, obviously I would love to do that, and I work hard at it nonstop. But the hope is just to continue living happily and healthily. And so that's just like, I always talk about hope. You have to have it. I won't ever lose it. I'll keep it forever.
That's a great attitude. You'd actually just mentioned that you are working on walking, quote unquote. Have you done anything with rewalk and the exoskeleton?
I haven't. So unfortunately, a lot of the protocol in the US, like the FDA and all their guidelines and such, they aren't big on letting quadriplegics give it a test run, which has been a little bit, again, frustrating at times for me. But I've seen what they can do. I think they're amazing. I think that's all headed in a really great direction, and I'm totally open to it.
Yeah, no,
Sure.
I think it's a great thing. I know that there's been there's differences in terms of, the US, and I think it's based out of Israel, if I'm not
There's quite
mistaken.
a few different ones now. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
rehab one, right?
The one that I know, at least, I know that a lot of people, even those that have spinal cord injuries, have tried it. So I was just curious if you had tried it.
I wish, I would love to. My friend Jennifer in Ireland has one, and I'm always so jealous when I see her walking around. It's so cool. But I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll get to a point where I can, and I'll be ready.
Yeah, no, for sure. By then there'll be more advancements and
I
so
hope.
forth. So you had mentioned this, but what ways have specifically, I know you spoke about your husband, but your family and friends, how they've supported you over the years?
My family, they all, of course, rallied to do everything they could when I first got hurt, and are still a huge support for me. My biggest, most number one supporter always since day one, though, of course, is my mom. She's been such a huge advocate for me since the injury. She worked for orthopedic surgeons when I first got injured, so she literally seeked and found the best absolute help she could for me, as far as the surgeon to fix my broken neck, going to the best rehab, which was Shepherd Center, and then again finding after that, like, what more can I do for my daughter? And she was the one that pushed me really to continue trying to want to get better, and not to just listen to the doctors that told me that, like, this is it, nothing else is ever going to change, this is your life. She was the one that taught me to never lose hope, for sure. And then my friends were just my sanity when I didn't want to worry about how I was going to get better and how I was going to live like this, all the things that your mom needs you to worry about. They just kept me sane, treated me just like they did before, and they were just like my go-to to escape that and just feel like a normal, at the time, 18 to mid 20, now 30-year-old. And I actually met my husband through my best friend Lindsay. They're cousins, so I literally have gained this whole new family through my friends. I have more family now, so it's just I don't know what I would do without any of them.
Yeah, no, that's all great. Your husband's very cute. Obviously, I've seen him on your Instagram. Very, very cute.
He's great.
Yeah. And what does he do?
My full-time caregiver.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
When I first met Matt, I was using home health aids.
Okay.
And he would kind of come and do what he does now, help me get my lower body dressed, transfer out of bed, maybe just little few other things, and then helping me to get to work, home from work, meal prep, all that good stuff. But to be honest, it's really hard to find reliable help. And so when Matt and I first started dating, I kept up the home health aids, and then he just already kind of like melted into the caregiver role so easily that I just let him become that. So when it's exactly what he just does, all that they would do. He helps me get up, get ready. He gets me to work. While I'm at work, he does stuff around the house that needs to be done. He takes me to all my appointments, picks up my prescriptions, goes grocery shopping. He's just like the do-it-all. He's the handyman. Luckily, he knows how to fix like anything that breaks in the house, so I never have to worry about that. And yeah, I mean, he probably works like 80 hours a week, not the 40 that they claim, but I don't know what I would do without him, because I get to have a best friend for a caregiver now, which is so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you live with him, obviously. And and obviously in most cases, if all cases, your spouse or your husband, significant, partner becomes your caregiver, when you do marry into somebody that has some type of injury. It's just so interesting that you said that he's your full-time caregiver, so that's why I was curious as to what you meant, because I've actually never heard that before.
Gotcha.
So that's really awesome.
He took to it super naturally, so it just was like the easiest transition for us.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So what do you find to be your biggest success so far in life?
I mean, I have to say it would be opening NextStep Orlando. It's brought me so much joy over the years, and just like an understanding of so much like difficulty and hardships that people have to face, and really learning to just not be judgeful and or judgmental. I don't know if that's the right word. And just like really have compassion for everybody and what their situation may entail, and just to again provide a place that people can come to and feel accepted and included again, and just kind of like restore hope for them again.
And so what is NextStep Orlando?
Yeah, I know. It's like, tried to save it for the end, but it's just such a huge part of my life that it's like hard to not mention it before that. But NextStep Orlando is a paralysis recovery center. So it's a really aggressive exercise-based recovery program. I was getting really, really frustrated with the limitations that traditional physical therapy was putting on me, because they are limited by insurance. So my mom, like I said, she was my advocate from the beginning, started looking for other options of because like I also said, I just was always so active. Sitting around was not an option for me. So it was like, what else is there out there? What can help me? And that's when we found NextStep out in California, and we started making trips out there. And I knew right away that this is what I needed to have in my life on a consistent basis. And not only that, we were meeting so many people out there from this area that we realized that it was a huge need for other people too. So yeah, it's a paralysis recovery center. There's many different locations now. We were the first out of besides LA to open, but there's Atlanta now, as well as Las Vegas, Raleigh, Kansas City. I hope I'm not forgetting any. Phoenix, and I think I should know. There's just so many. And then they've opened up in New Zealand, I believe, and Austria as well. You can definitely see it all on the website. We're just growing so quickly that I can't keep up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how many people are in your facility where you are?
So because of COVID right now, we are working with a limited schedule. Normally we have 5 activity-based trainers. Right now we're kind of working with 3 to 4 and only seeing 2 clients at a time, because we just want to keep the number of people in the facility down, as well as just to protect their health and safety, because we are immunocompromised here, as you know. So and we do have some clients that have not returned yet, just because of health reasons and wanting to stay home and stay safe. And because of that, we're also not getting the visiting clients that we normally do, especially during the summer. We get clients from all over the country to all over the world. They literally come from everywhere. So right now we're mainly seeing our home-based, like our local clients, the ones that have felt safe enough to come back. But we hope to, as the year goes on, get back into our usual schedule where we see like sometimes like 10 clients a day.
That's amazing. Yeah, it must be really fulfilling to see NextStep Orlando grow in your division.
Yeah, absolutely. And the staff too, they're so great and like so enjoyable, and just really personable, caring people, that they make it such a great environment to be in, that people, like, as soon as they get here, they're hooked.
Awesome. Are there other employees that also have some type of injury?
We have had in the past. As of right now, again, with everything going on, I am the only one as of right now. But all of our clients love to be super involved. They write blogs for me. They will do videos for me, challenges for me. And yes, we have in the past employed other people with spinal cord injuries.
That's awesome. So what do you think you've learned over the past X number of years as a result of having your injury? What have you learned about yourself, if anything?
I guess I would say the thing that I learned was that I'm pretty resilient. I just never really had that feeling that like life was over. And even though there are definitely times that I want to give up because I'm human, I just like to remind myself of how lucky I am to still be alive and that I have this second chance. And I just, just from the get-go, it was like never a feeling of defeat, but more so of like, okay, what can I do now in this situation with this hand I've been given to make my life the best that it can be for me. And so I know a lot of people always say like, oh my gosh, if that were to happen to me, you're so strong. I don't know if I could do it. And honestly, I'm like, when you get put in this situation, it's what you have to do. And I think that's what I learned the most is how resilient not only I can be but that we all can be.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, resilient is definitely a great quality to have. And like you said, we're all faced with something, or when you're faced with something, kind of just got to move with it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help to, stay back and don't move with quote unquote the wind.
We definitely all need like our moments and our time to have our feels and sulk in it for a minute, but you just can't let it last too long and just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, and you also never know what you can accomplish as a result, because there's so many things that you probably would not, and I'm just talking about everyone, would not know that they could accomplish or do or reach, further than maybe what a doctor said as a result. So why not try?
Exactly. It's within everybody. It's just sometimes it takes a crazy situation like this to pull it out of you.
Exactly. So have you come to a place of acceptance with your injury?
I have. It definitely wasn't overnight. I've been injured now for 13 years, so I've had a lot of time to learn to accept it. Like I said, I'll never quit trying to regain mobility and to walk again, but I have accepted the injury and I have accepted my new normal. And I think what actually really helped me the most was meeting my husband, Matt. I think everybody, one of their first thoughts or fears when they have a spinal cord injury is, can anybody ever love me like this? So when I finally realized that I could be loved this way, I think that's really when I was able to accept the injury.
That's wonderful. And when did you meet Matt?
I met Matt 3 years after I was injured. So we've been together for 10 years now, married for 1.
Oh, wow. Congrats on newly being married.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've heard, and I'm not married right now, but I've heard that, and I've seen this with my friends, but when you've been with somebody for so long and then you get married, unless you're having a child or so forth, technically it's just a stamp, with a certification. Nothing technically changes, obviously, until you have children, if you do, or, get a dog,
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be.
You're exactly right. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Not at all. We just had a really fun celebration.
Yeah, no, it looked amazing on social media.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what does it mean to you to be different than others?
That's a great question. I guess to me, being different just means being yourself. I honestly feel like I was always different, but now you can just see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just being you.
Right.
That's the best part about us, is that we're all different. And now you can see my difference, but it was always there.
Right. You were born to stand out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it.
So lastly, what advice would you give to others who have a spinal cord injury?
My advice to others that have a spinal cord injury, I think, has been like the running theme of this interview here. And it's just do what you can do or find what makes you happy again. That I feel like is the key. It's just to be everybody, I feel like is that's their goal in life, right? Is to be happy. So do what you need to do, find what makes you happy again, and just realize how lucky you are to still be alive and make the best of it because we only get one shot.
Absolutely. That's a great way to end, quote unquote, this interview.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, no, it's amazing. Your story is really, really powerful.